a quick transition, since we did speak about J. Cole's Dreamers Mitchell and Ness collection, we have to talk about this recent buy of Mitchell and Ness for $250 million. Come on, Moose, talk about it a little bit.
Crazy, man. Crazy. I mean, first off, we all know Fanatics have been in the media a lot lately just because of the acquisitions that they've been making. So they're growing. I mean, they are expanding to collab with, or at least include, sports betting onto their portfolio. We know they run a huge merchandise licensing deal or business model that is able to integrate them. I think they said they cover like 900 sports or like a variety of things like that, which is like incredible to think about that many different leagues and teams are trusting them with their merchandise to add their unique spin to it. So this specific deal here comes, of course, as they're integrating into e-commerce and bringing back some local stores. And you look at just the roster that brought this whole collab together. So, of course, Jay-Z is already an investor into Fanatics. You know there's relationship there, being that it's a Philly-based brand with Meek Mill.
Facts.
Then, of course, Mav Carter. We know the relationship between LeBron's camp and Jay, and Mav Carter is someone who references Jay-Z as like that advisor, friend, mentor that has helped them kind of stay together and build. So you're bringing a very progressive brand that's acquiring a lot of businesses. They're like dumping money into industries to acquire business. And then you have people who represent the culture in a wide variety of way. Now, granted, I believe they only have about 25% ownership amongst Jay, Little Baby's also on there. There's a TikTok family as well that got in on the deal. So they're sharing 25%. But when you think about the reach, the fact that they're allowing some individuals from TikTok who have exploded to come in on the deal, that lets you know how far ahead they're thinking about utilizing different platforms, different influencers, and even brand names or just individual personal brand names to be able to push and get their return back. So I think it's super cool. I mean, obviously an incredible brand, but just the fact that a lot of these different layers are coming together to make something happen to this magnitude.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
That's crazy. But for those who don't know anything about Mitchell and Ness and haven't seen a single jersey or anything like that, we got the story behind it.
The company began stringing tennis rackets, making custom golf clubs, and producing uniforms for local teams like the Eagles and Phillies. In 1985, a customer asked Mitchell and Ness to repair his game-worn jersey, sparking the idea to produce a nostalgic clothing line. Today, Mitchell & Ness specializes in authentic and lifestyle apparel for the major leagues such as the National Basketball Association, as well as the NHL, MLB, and NFL.
Now, as a New Yorker and a hip-hop fan, I'm very familiar with Mitchell & Ness because it seemed like every rapper wore the jersey, right? Mm-hmm. For our audio viewers, we have pictures of everybody from Outkast to Jermaine Dupri, Fabulous, Little Bow Wow when he was Little Bow Wow, Dipset, Jay-Z, Dame Dash, Snoop Dogg, all wearing some type of jersey. It's just been part of the culture for the longest, and so it makes sense that hip hop stars do own a percentage of this. And, which we had conversations offline about it. I was very shocked that Fabulous is not part of that lineup. And I would almost be very interested to ask why, because I believe he's part of the Roc Nation lineup. So
right.
It would only make sense he would be a part of it because he was a huge role on, making that, him and Jay and a whole bunch of other people. But we always saw Fabulous in a jersey.
Yeah.
Real quick, fast, in a hurry. So, he even talked about it in Wallow's podcast, where it's like, it went from I actually just like buying it to they started giving me discounts to then it started being, some business deals where, we would do this. But he also explained that on tour when he was on with Jay-Z, he used to see Jay-Z every city wear a different jersey based off the city. So he looked at that like, I never seen that before. You know what? I'm going to do this more as a lifestyle. So, like, of course, hip hop, like, embraced something that was such, just in sports. They made this as you have to have a jersey. I think I forgot what year it was, but everybody had a jersey.
Yeah,
everybody.
You remember it back in like school, middle school, high school, when everyone was wearing them backwards. So like the last name was in the front.
Facts. Hey, it happened. I didn't do that, but I've seen it. But yeah, it was a thing people would. But some of those jerseys, it's still to this day, $300, $400 for an authentic Mitchell and Ness jersey. But I think this is huge. And I'm very interested to see, what do you think is going to, you kind of alluded to what could possibly happen, but what do you really see happening with this one?
Yeah. Well, I think the fact that they run in like the vintage space, right? And they're getting with Fanatics who have built their entire business model around licensing. Now, just to kind of break it down around the basic, licensing is basically, I see your hat, Nicky, it says, Nueva York, and you maybe license that or register that look as an official look, right? It's almost like as a patent, if you will. And I'm like, you know what? Rather than me starting my own clothing line, I'm just going to use people who've already produced cool logos, clothing, brand, whatever, and just license that clothing from them. And I'm going to get really good at the other things. I'm going to get good at distribution, being able to come to market or production, a lot of these other things, marketing, of course. And I'm going to make my money like that way. I'm going to split. So they've grown tremendously. I mean, the owner or the founder, or he's not the founder really, but Mike Rubin, he bought the company some time back, Fanatics that is. He's a billionaire now because of this model. So I think now going into that space, having a lot of those relationships, it can only help scale the company. So at one point, a lot of people were thinking Mitchell and Ness was going away because they weren't really as popular as they were, back then. But and I started seeing their stuff, believe it or not, more so on Paxson. So like, I don't know if you ever shop there. Yeah, believe it or not, like they'll have a lot of their either shirts or like things pop up in there. I'm like, yo, it's crazy. They're still around. And shout out to Kat too. I know Kat used to design for them.
Shout out to Kat.
For some time. Yeah. So just to kind of see that happen. So I think it only makes sense. They're going to be able to scale the licensing with those relationships and that business model that they have down packed, help them to explode and make all these acquisitions. And then all of these people involved, it's only going to help them scale from a marketing standpoint. So I can see them making a really big push to make sure that Mitchell and Ness become, as popular, if not more, than it was before.
Big fact. So congratulations and shout out to Jay-Z, Lil Baby, Meek Mill, Mav Carter, which I'm surprised you didn't really dig into Mav a little bit. Yeah, I'm surprised because that is your guy. But, shout out to them, the TikTok family, all that great stuff. Of course, Michael Rubin, because, he has 75% of the joint. You feel me?
Right.
75%. Sheesh.